Hello, welcome to the video session beginning the writing guide on our platform. On the screen, you probably see this PDF that I'm sharing with you. I pulled this PDF from the platform and I'm going to show you where I got it from. So this is it. When you go to the menu section, you've got IELTS Writing Guide 1 to 9, all right? And this video series is very important for both the academic and then the general exam. It applies to both because it's essentially about writing a good paragraph, for example, writing a descriptive paragraph, and a few things connected to the content of what you need to write, all right? So in the other videos that are specific to the exams, in the IELTS academic writing and the general writing, we only looked at the practice tests and the questions. This time we're gonna take a look at how you can actually build or form or write a very good paragraph, okay? What are the essential ingredients that you need to be able to write a very good paragraph? That's what we're gonna take a look at in these 9 video series. Good, so we're gonna go back to the PDF and then start right away. So generally, to take off, a paragraph always has 3 parts. A paragraph has the abstract part, it's got the explanation or examples part, and then it's got a conclusion, all right? So the abstract part is also called a topic sentence. The example part or the explanation part is the supporting part, and the conclusion obviously is a conclusion, all right? A paragraph usually focuses on one idea as it's stated here. And all these 3 elements sort of converge to this one idea, okay? They all connect to this one idea. So you'll always have some kind of a controlling element in that paragraph, and that controlling element is the main idea of the paragraph. There's a point here about paragraphs being indented. This is old school writing style. Now you can just leave a space in between paragraphs, and then you can start in a blocked way to begin writing the paragraph, and everybody will know it's a paragraph. You don't have to indent it. So do not indent paragraphs in the exam. Just leave a space or a line, one line, and then continue from there. So what are these elements? In this video, we're going to take a look at each and every one of these elements, do a few exercises, and to point out a few things to help you train your paragraph development, okay? There is nothing as good as a well-developed paragraph that gives the reader a sense of what you're actually writing about. So the topic sentence is actually typically the first sentence in the paragraph, all right? Sophisticated writers can put the topic sentence in the middle or at the end, but just go with this simple strategy. Always put the topic sentence at the beginning. And what does the topic sentence say? The topic sentence is basically the writer's attitude or idea or opinion, okay? So simply put, the topic sentence is your opinion to a particular topic, all right? And then the support, as mentioned earlier, it explains, it describes, it develops the main idea. It uses a lot of tools to do this. Examples is one of them. Theoretical facts is one of them. We will take a look at all the different kind of tools that you can use in the supporting part of your paragraph, which takes about 2/3 of the paragraph anyway. And then you've got the conclusion, which summarizes or comments on the main idea. And when we get to the conclusion section, I will also show you another way to conclude a paragraph. It's basically the same, it's just, I'll just express it in a different way. So starting with the topic sentence, we said it's the main idea and it's very general, okay? It's the most important sentence. Why? Because it guides you and it guides the reader. And it's very general. That's why I prefer to call it abstract. It's like, so think of a paragraph as a funnel structure, okay? Trichterstruktur. You think of it as a funnel structure where the opening is very big and then it becomes very small in the middle, and then it goes down there. So the big part is the abstract part, okay? Mostly it's very easy to come up with an abstract because it's the big part, all right? Because there are thousands and thousands of abstracts there. But what is more difficult is developing the examples and the theoretical facts to support your abstract. And that is the middle part, all right? It becomes very narrow and it becomes very small. And then you've got the conclusion, and that one too, you need to really think about it a little bit. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. So always think of a paragraph as a funnel structure where the opening is the most general statement, which is the broader statement, and then it narrows down to the support and to the conclusion. So the topic is, as I said, you put it at the beginning. It's often the first sentence, and it has what we call the controlling idea. And it's actually, the controlling idea is actually the opinion that you express, all right? And then it gives the reader a sense of in which direction you're going with the whole argument. So let's take a look at this topic sentence, and then we can identify the controlling idea. So this topic sentence reads, a parent can help in their children's education by encouraging them. The controlling idea in this topic sentence is the writer's attitude or idea, and that is by encouraging them. Okay, so a topic sentence contains a controlling idea, and that controlling idea determines the course of the entire paragraph. So a controlling idea is a word or phrase. It's not a sentence because it's part of the sentence. It's a word or phrase. In this case, we've got a phrase by encouraging them, and it helps the reader to ask questions about it, all right, and to have them answered in the paragraph. So the supporting part of your paragraph actually answers the reader's question. So this is the controlling idea here, identified again, and then you've got a full paragraph to support that controlling idea, and then you conclude, all right? So what kind of questions can a reader ask about this controlling idea? For example, the reader can ask, how can parents encourage their children? Or what specific things should parents do to encourage their children? And how can this encouragement lead to success? So these questions are all answered in the supporting part of it. However, the controlling idea kind of gives the reader a starting point to ask these questions. We will get to the conclusion part, but what I want to point out is a conclusion is always a result, an impact, a consequence, and so you express it with a word like therefore, okay? More to the conclusion in later sections. So the controlling idea, it's your opinion, and of course, it's a judgment. A judgment is your opinion, what you think about an issue, and so it's a judgment. Let's look at a few exercises to this. In activity 1.1, what we have to do is we have to underline the topic, and then we have to circle the controlling idea, just like in the example. So the example says being defeated by a less experienced team was a humiliating experience. The topic is about defeat, all right, Niederlage. And the controlling idea, what the writer thinks about it, the judgment about this topic is that it's a humiliating experience. So you circle that. Number 2, living in the city has given me opportunities to improve my work options. We can see that the topic is about life in the city, all right? So you can underline living in the city, and what is the writer's opinion or judgment about life in the city? It gives you opportunities to improve work options. This is the controlling idea, all right? Or just to improve my work options is also possible as an answer. So go ahead and do 3 to 5. Underline your controlling, your topic, and then circle your controlling idea. The last paragraph, the answers are on the last page. You can check them and see if you did a good job. Please take these exercises seriously because they will really help you. A lot of students really struggle with writing a paragraph, okay? They've got the support somewhere and then it's really messy. So this is a very good video series for you. Take it serious, take the exercises seriously and use it to shape your writing as we go on. Okay, so we've talked about this. One thing about a topic sentence is that it should not be too broad. Yes, it should be broad, but it should not be too broad because when it's too broad, first of all, you wouldn't know where to start to begin from, and secondly, you will need to develop a very tall paragraph, so a lot of words and sentences, okay? Let's take a look at a too broad topic sentence and compare it to a very narrow topic sentence. Modern living is an environmental threat. This is a very, very, very broad topic sentence because there are various aspects of modern life and then there are a variety of environmental threats. So which ones are you going to talk about? Okay, so in this sentence, we see a narrowing of this whole discussion, and that says, dumping oil from ocean tankers is polluting our seas. That is very specific, all right? You don't want to make the funnel too big, okay? Because the bigger you make it, the broader it becomes, and the more difficult it will be for you to defend your argument. Such a statement, however, will appear in the introduction to your complete essay. Sorry about this. Such a sentence will come in the introduction to the complete essay. For example, you can say, nowadays, modern living is an environmental threat. And then you go on to explain and then say why you're gonna give reasons to support your argument. And then your second paragraph in a typical discussion essay will be something like this, okay? So limit broad topic sentences for the introduction. And then when it comes to the main body paragraphs, your topic sentence should be relatively narrower. So in this exercise, we're going to train identifying or writing precise and narrow topic sentences by comparing them to two broad or broader topic sentences. So in this exercise, activity 1 to 2, you have to study the pairs A, B. One of them is too broad, and then the other one is very narrow, and that is good. Underline the better topic sentence in each pair. All right, so which one is the better topic sentence? We're saying the better topic sentence is the one that is precise and not too broad. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says, divorce creates problems for parents and children. And B says, when their parents divorce, children often feel insecure. So which one is narrower than which one? We do realize B is narrower than the A. So we pick B as the better topic sentence. A is too broad, creates problems. What kind of problems? All right. You will need to talk about a lot of them to illustrate this point. However, this sentence will fit well in the introduction as a perfect observation first sentence in the introduction. Try to solve 2 to 3 and then check your answers on the last page. In activity 1 to 3, we're going to study this paragraph, and the exercise is to rewrite the topic sentence. So word for word, okay, write the whole topic sentence in the space provided here, and then circle the controlling idea. You can do this, all right? So we don't have to do this. It's one exercise only, so I'm not gonna do anything, but you have, remember the topic sentence is what your very first sentence in the paragraph, okay? At this stage, easy way, it's your very first sentence in the paragraph. So technically just rewrite the first sentence again, exactly. It's easier to learn a language, whatever, to the end, and then circle the controlling idea and you can check your answer on the last page. Support. So that does it for the topic sentence part. To summarize the topic sentence, it's the first sentence in your paragraph. It should be very precise, it should not be too broad, and it should have a controlling idea, which is your opinion, your judgment about the topic that you stated. The next element of a well-written paragraph is the support. And remember, I said at the beginning that when it comes to support, you've got a lot of tools to help you. You can use explanations, you can use narratives, you can use details, you can use facts, you can use examples, you can use explanations, and you can use statistics. So let's take a look, let's touch briefly on these elements. What is a narrative? A narrative can be an anecdote, for example, your personal life experience. That is something you can include in the supporting part. Or it could also be the story of a friend, a story of a known person, or it could be a story based on the novel that you read. It could be a story of a movie. Basically, a narrative, a story about everything and about any person is possible here. All right, so that's what a narrative is. And I would recommend restricting yourself. Try finding examples from your own life, narratives from your own life, or people closer to you. Okay. Of course, if you can remember stories from movies that fit with the topic that you're writing, well, you can go for it. All right, but try to make it simpler, save yourself time, and think about stories that relate to you or to people around you. Details mean that you dive more into the controlling idea, into the topic. It's a little bit vague here what detail is, but basically explain more, all right? Facts, that's also another thing. A fact is something that is true, has been true, will always be true, was true. You want to use facts also to support that. Theoretical facts. And then a very powerful tool to use in the support section is examples. The line is kind of blurry between examples and narratives and details, all right? But example means you introduce the sentence with for example or for instance, and then you mention specific examples that support the abstract or the topic sentence in the first, at the beginning of the paragraph. Explanation, right? Explanation means that you go on to explain your point. If you say pollution causes or air pollution causes lung problems, you really want to explain from the perspective of a professional. What do you mean by air pollution causing lung problems? So you have to say, okay, so when particles get into the lungs, they can create problems for the cells. The cells may not be able to clear these particles. So you want to explain a little bit more, and that is what explanation means. Statistics is also another powerful tool. Although statistics under exam conditions, it will be so hard to remember statistics unless you're a very good reader or you are just a reader, okay? You like reading a lot and you can remember statistics and so on. You would be able to use statistics in your essay in the exams. However, for most people, it will be hard to remember statistics. So two or three of these tools that I recommend for the academic essays and then the general writing essays, part 2 essays, of course, are the examples, the narratives, and the explanations. All right, these three you should try and use these three because they're down to earth, they're practical. It's not all the time that you can remember facts and statistics, as I said. Yeah, it's really difficult to come up with statistics in an exam setting. So restrict yourself to examples, restrict yourself to explanations, and restrict yourself to narratives. So the supporting sentence, what it does, it basically explains why you you state that opinion. So why the controlling sentence, or why the topic sentence is true, okay? So let's look at a typical, some of these elements or some of these tools at work. So we read our topic sentence, and our topic sentence had encouraging children in their education as the controlling idea. Now, in our supporting part, we're going to look at how do you do this? How do you encourage kids? The first point is a parent has the responsibility to inspire their children to do their homework. Now, we've learned a few tools here. Which of these tools does this sentence refer to? Take about 5 seconds and make a guess. All right, several answers are possible here, but the first obvious one is a fact. Okay, a parent has the responsibility to inspire their children to do their homework. It's not an example, it's not a narrative, it's not a statistic, it's a fact, and it can also be an explanation. All right, parent has a responsibility, an explanation of encouraging children. Sentence number 2, parents can help their children by monitoring them and answering any difficult question. Now it's becoming more specific. Obviously, this belongs to the example category, even though it's not introduced by the phrase. For example, we can see that the writer is mentioning specific ways of encouraging them, and that is monitoring them and then answering their difficult questions. You can also consider this as details. All right, so the two options that come into play, details and explanation. The third sentence, parents can reward their children with positive words. This is also an example, it's an explanation, it's a detail, it's not a statistic, it's not a fact, all right? It's an example that you're giving. Do you see that? So try to use as different tools as possible. And as I've said, go for narratives, go for examples, and go for explanation. All right, so don't just use for example. Try to explain your controlling idea a little bit with one sentence, and then narrate something. For example, when I was young, my parents would do this, or when my sister was young. Try to use at least 2 of these tools in the supporting sentence part. That will show the reader your range of vocabulary, your range of expression, and will also bring some dynamics and variety into your paragraph or essay. In activity 1.4, you have to study this paragraph and again rewrite the topic sentence. So just basically copy and paste. Yeah, rewrite the topic sentence. Important is circle the controlling idea and then list the support. This is really important. Okay. So we know the first sentence is always the topic sentence, so just rewrite it, but you will need to circle the controlling idea and then you will need to find the support. All right, where is the support? Do that and then check the answers on the last page, but I've got some few tips to help you. And this is also something to pay attention to when you're writing a paragraph. Basically using sequencers and reinforcing phrases. Sequencers and reinforcing phrases. If you want to learn more about sequences and reinforcing phrases, for those of you taking the academic IELTS writing, you can go to the video section under writing, IELTS writing practice test 1 to 10, okay? There I treat all the different types of essay questions, so charts and tables and discussions and opinion essays. In one of those videos, we treat sequencers. If you're writing the general exam, also in the videos, I pull some of those files from the academic reading part to highlight the sequencers, so you can go there and find more information about sequencers. But here are sequencers. So a sequencer are words like firstly, secondly, thirdly, or reinforces like moreover, in addition, furthermore. And this is what we see. And that is these words are really important to write a very good supporting sentences. And I've mentioned the fact that you should try and use different tools in the supporting sentence area. Use narratives, use examples, and use explanations. If you want to distinguish, or if you want to differentiate these tools from one another, you will need these sequencers. You will need these reinforcers, okay? So here, the author goes on to mention the first point, of course, without using the sequencer firstly, but I would encourage you, before you write the first supporting sentence, to use a sequencer like first of all, or to begin with, or something in that direction. Your second supporting sentence should have another sequencer or reinforcer. In this case, you've got another. And then you've also got, for your third supporting sentence, you've got the reinforcer also. And then finally, as a sequencer for the final supporting sentence questions. In this case, you see that I have technically shown you the sentences you need to list for the supporting sentence. So first of all, it's this one, and then the another, and then the also sentence, and then the finally sentence, all right? And pay attention, as I said, to use some of these sequencers also in your paragraph, all right? When you develop your controlling idea, make sure you have 2-3 points separated by a sequencer or a reinforcer. Activity 1.5, there is a topic sentence. We're going to train more on how to write good supporting sentences. So you've got this topic sentence. Students can succeed in school if they create a study timetable. That is the topic sentence. And obviously, what is the controlling idea? The controlling idea is success through timetable, a study timetable. So basically, the author thinks that when you create a timetable, you can succeed. That is the controlling idea, okay? The exercise is, on your own, try to write supporting sentences, 3 supporting sentences for this topic sentence. I have written one for you, and I use, you can call this an example. You can also call it a further explanation. So my supporting sentence is, creating a timetable can help organize time well by allocating a time slot for curricular and extracurricular activities. So this is, you can consider it as an example, or you can consider it as an explanation, all right? Try to use different tools. Don't use examples. I've used example here. Of course, think of examples too, but try and use narrative and also an explanation here, all right? Or you can also think of a fact, all right? If you can come up with facts. And then after that, you can check. There are some suggestions on supporting sentences in the answer section, and then you can see further examples, but try and write something on your own as a way of developing it. Remember to separate the topic sentences. Well, okay, here you really don't need them, but try and add sequencers and reinforcers, okay? Another way of, or another benefit of creating a study timetable is finally a study time, okay? So blending the sequencers and also blend in the different types of tools, examples, narratives, and facts or explanations. In the last section of our video session today, we are looking at the conclusion. So the conclusion is very short. It's typically 1 or 2 sentences. So please don't have 3 sentences for a conclusion. In fact, I would recommend 1 sentence, okay, to not make it too long, but maximum 2 sentences. So there are 2 ways the conclusion can go. The conclusion can summarize the main idea, or so it's a summary or a comment. And one thing that is not stated here is, but it's actually implicit, because when we read this concluding sentence, we'll see the word therefore. The word therefore actually introduces an effect, an impact, or a consequence, whatever you want to call it. So you can either summarize or paraphrase your abstract again, which is the topic sentence. So basically say the topic sentence in another way, or you can, following from the supporting sentences that you stated, a result or an effect out of it. Okay, so generalizing again from there. All right, so in the end, it becomes more of an hourglass than a funnel. All right, remember we said I started at the beginning by saying a paragraph has in the beginning and in the middle, you've got the funnel structure. The top part is broad, is the topic sentence abstract, and then it gets narrow. Where it gets narrow is the supporting sentence section. There you really need to think about fitting examples for your topic sentence. After that, the conclusion, that one sentence can also be broad, all right? Can be very broad. You can mention about effects, because effect would also technically be another thing that you cannot technically discuss on. Or you can just repeat the abstract again by paraphrasing. In any case, your funnel becomes an hourglass, because top is broad, and then in the end is also broad, and the middle is very narrow with the examples. So let's take a look at a concluding sentence that summarizes or paraphrases our topic sentence in the beginning, which was, a parent can help in their children's education by encouraging them. This was our topic sentence. Now the concluding sentence therefore departs from the supporting sentences. Okay, as a result, a parent needs to be attentive to their to their children's education, so that they're encouraged to feel they're achieving something. Do you see what has been done here? Basically summarizing the supporting sentences, because they all had to do with paying attention to the kid, and then the effect of that is that they're encouraged, which was actually the topic sentence. Okay, so a summary of the topic sentence, and then also the effect that you're looking at. And I will always encourage to start the concluding sentence with these words: therefore, in effect, as a result, all right, as a consequence. Start the concluding sentence with some of these words or phrases. Important is to not use exactly the same word. If you paraphrase the main idea, instead of giving a broader consequence or effect, do not use exactly the same words. And then you've got another concluding sentence which uses a different set of words. Therefore, for a child to be able to achieve their best at school, the parent needs to be supportive and positive in their approach. Okay, these are all different ways of stating the abstract again. In this concluding sentence, supportive means the same as helping, and positive means the same as encourage. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at synonyms, all right? So paraphrasing is all about using synonyms. Although under exam context, sometimes it's so difficult to think of synonyms. That is why I present you the other option, which is thinking in broader terms and departing from your examples to say, okay, what is the effect? What is the consequence? All right. If we go back to that paragraph, I just want to show you how that departure can look like if you don't want to paraphrase the abstract and you want to give a broad consequence. So for example, we read the sentence, children want to feel that they have achieved something, and by praising them, you motivate them to study. There are many ways to get children to do the work, but the most effective is to either help. Yeah, so the departure will be, therefore, encouraging children helps them to be successful, or they can be successful. And that is something that is also presented here, achieving, all right? You did not mention success in the abstract, but you mentioned it here because it's a logical conclusion from the argument, from the supporting sentences, okay? So do not feel like you always have to paraphrase the abstract. If you still cannot come up with a synonym, you're sitting there and you're trying to get synonyms to paraphrase, you can just use one word from the abstract, and then the rest will be a broader generalization, and then saying the effects of the supporting sentences or the abstract. All right. The last exercise in this video session will be reading the activity paragraph, the activity 1.4, and then doing the following. Remember, activity 1.4 was the advantages of sports or whatever. We'll go there. But the exercise is, first of all, underline the keywords the writer uses in both the topic sentence and the conclusion. And B, rewrite the concluding sentence, rephrasing the keywords. It's just like what we looked at here. We had the topic sentence, a keyword is help, and then in the concluding sentence, we saw attentiveness as a synonym, and then also encouraged for encouraging, the same word. Here we've got supportive for helping, positive for encourage. So that is what exercise A is about, that you first identify keywords in the topic sentence and in the conclusion. So basically you're just going to do a matching job, all right? So which keyword in the conclusion was a synonym or a paraphrase for particular words in the topic sentence. And then the exercise, the next exercise is rewrite the concluding sentence using rephrasing the keyword. So in your own words, okay, rewrite the concluding sentence, rephrasing the keywords in your own words. And once you're done, we've got suggested answers here on the last pages for you to look at. And you would have started your journey of writing perfect paragraphs, okay? So to conclude, a paragraph always has a topic sentence, the supporting part, and the conclusion. We've looked at all these elements and how they fit together. So just practice them, and then get in touch, of course, with us at Home Studies. Get a teacher who can help you, train you, look at your paragraph and your grammar and your vocabulary range, everything put together. If you're in Switzerland, you're looking at homestudies.com. If you're in Germany, you are online-englischkurs.com, and you can select a teacher. We've got a list of teachers on the website, and you can book a free trial lesson of 45 minutes, and you can begin your success journey to the IELTS. So this will be the end of the video session 2, the series writing exercises, writing good paragraphs. Until I bring you the next video, it's bye for now. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye.